Okay, let me teach you guys how the full song. I realized last Friday night in shul that I was singing that niggun, but people only know the first 8 bars. They don't know there's more to it. So let's listen closely. Bum bum dum da dum dum da dum dum da dum 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 da 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 dum 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 da dum dum dum. Did it lie, 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 lie. Did it lie, 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 bam ba dum bam ba. Did it lie, lie, lie. This has been the week of just questions of these. First of all, who are the l'chaims for? No, it's like Leiloi Nishmas or anything?
Not necessarily.
Just Lechovid Elo? Lechovid Elo. Okay, let's sing a good an Elo Nigun. And thank you to all the sponsors. And thank you to next week's sponsors. And thank you already to the following week's sponsors and the following sponsors and everything like that. And it's partially sponsored. Louis? No? Oh no! L'chovod.
My father,
Dr. Eagle Senior's birthday. Orech Yamim, many more good and healthy years with Hashem. Lulei hemanti lidos betuv Hashem, lidos betuv Hashem b'eretz hachayim. Lulei hemanti lidos betuv Hashem, lidos betuv Hashem b'eretz hachayim. Kaveh el Hashem chazan yametz libecha v'yametz libecha v'kaveh el Hashem. Oh, 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 ay, 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 bum, 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 bum. Ay, la, 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 bum, 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 la, 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 bum, 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 ay, oh, 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 I tried singing this niggun last Friday night, but I only sang the first 4 notes, and everyone took it. They thought it was a different niggun. Listen, Ein dai, di dai. Go. I went like this. Ein lai, ein lai, ein lai. And everyone just went like that. I said, whatever. That's the rota. It happens sometimes in davening. It happens, whatever.
The one shul, you start one note.
Right, that should be our problem. There are many shuls that no one joins you with. You sing it the whole way. You sing it the whole way through, and no one joins you.
It's a very awkward moment.
Yeah. Okay. Said the Shema list. I have one. There's one more sefer of the Chaver that God will. I'll try to go back there again and get more. This is all we had. So if anyone wants one last one, there's one over here of what we've been learning for a while. Okay. So also before we start the learning today. Listen, Chaver, this is just a bakasha I have from everyone. There are a lot of people within our Chaver that need a refuah. It's been a heavy week. There's a lot of strong. It's obviously there's a lot going on, but there's a lot of people suffering, and I want to put this on here. So I just want to have in mind, please, Yehudis Basara, Mina Michal Pesia Baskela Tzifra. Ilana Chana Bas Gila Brainla, Michal Aviva Bas Yehudis, Hilat Safnat Bats Saratova, Yosef Rafael ben Yehudis, Avram Moshe ben Cyril, Esther Bas Adina Miriam, and Yosef Gidon Yaakov ben Penina.
Can you send that list out?
Yeah, I'll send this list out. A lot of this list is children and people, cousins of people that live here. There's a lot, so just to have it in mind, I'll send the list out, and our learning should be Be'ez Hashem for the refuah. Like I said earlier this week, this list should just get smaller and smaller because of refuahs and good news. Okay, so in the Sefer, please open up Daf Samech Vav. We're in the middle of the 7th parak of this beautiful parak from Rabbi Yaakov Meir, Shechter on Shabbos. And today is going to address the following question that I'm sure, unfortunately, this has been the matzav, it's been the mitzias in our lives. And that is, what happens when I don't feel Shabbos? What happens when I'm keeping Shabbos, I don't feel Shabbos? It's more Saturday than Shabbos. But I'm not machalaling Saturday, I guess. So what happens over there? What's the avoda of someone that's just not feeling it? And that's a legitimate question, because there are times in life where we just, it's not on. So one of the Yitzhahara says, we have a Pesach Hashar for this person to start feeling guilty. Let's make this guy or this girl feel so guilty right now that they don't feel Shabbos. And that's going to really be like, we could bring him down like that, right? That's a big danger. So what I want us to see today, it's beautiful. It flows. It's beautiful. It's not so difficult, but to have in mind chaverim and chaveros that we know that are in our life, that they're waiting for one person to give them Shabbos like no one else can, and they're keeping Shabbos, and Shabbos is in their life, but you see that they're not. And maybe, even if it's one of us, maybe it could be. We also are decreeing right now. Where's Michal? He's right. Starting next week, it's 2 platters.
Yeah,
He already. He was also the Baal Tefillah today. He's Kaveh. It's 2 platters from next Shabbos. Okay, that's good. Kacha. We're in Samech Vav, the left column on the bottom. It's going to bring a Zohar Kodesh. It's based on what we just said right now. Ita b'Zohar Kodesh b'Zar Lashon. You see it, Chaver, that I have to say? Yeah. Lo zaza shchina miYisrael b'chol Shabbos v'yomim tavin. The Shechina never leaves Am Yisrael on any Shabbos or any Yontiv. Now here he says a very interesting statement. Va'afilu b'Shabbatot dechol. Even on weekday Shabbos. Shabbos that falls out on a weekday. That's what it seems that it means, okay? Ela de'ihi sogeres u'mesogeres behon. But it is, and I'm dafka not translating word for word right now, sogeret umesugeret behon. We'll translate it in a few minutes. What does that mean? This is a very wondrous statement, Rav Yaakov Meir Shechter says. V'yesh bo kama dikdukim. There are a lot of things we could draw out from here. V'abiruhu. The explanation is as follows. Ki hina yesh tkufos beYisrael. You didn't go through times. Shebe'etyo shel ha'hester panim hanora. Ein margishim es kedushas noam haShabbos. There are moments of, it's called, the Sitra Achra wants to make you feel like you're such a poshea, and you should feel so guilty that you're not feeling Shabbos. Really, there's a thing called hester panim. That means there's concealment. There's some kind of hastara going on. And what happens when there's a hastara, it's in the air. It's in the air. Ein margishim es kedushas noam haShabbos. There's a hastara going on. There's a concealment. I show up for Shabbos. I come to a Friday morning, Hachana l'Shabbos shir. I come early, I say shir hashirim in shul. Or whatever else I did. And yet Shabbos comes and I'm not feeling it. He says there is a concept that's called hester panim. Anyone ever feel it here? Those are the kind of questions I don't want anyone to answer. I'm just, No, I learned with the women, early on when we started doing women's shir, I would ask these kind of questions. Not this one, but other vulnerable questions. And without thinking, someone would start to say what shouldn't be kept, shouldn't be. L'chol zman va'et. It's a time for everything, right? But tachlis, we're a bunch of vulnerable men in this room, right? So of course we could say it, right? Who here has felt the hester panim in their life? Who hasn't? Get out of here. Yeah, well, there's a nice porch here. Who hasn't felt the hester panim, right? Ki liskos lehargish simchas haShabbos u'kedushasa. To merit, to feel the simcha of Shabbos and its holiness. Hi me'avodot ha'chashuvot shebamikdash. This was one of the greatest avodas and important ones in the Mikdash. That's what was going on. Yismechul malchus chashomei Shabbos v'korei oneg. Remember that guy? Some of the chaver were with me that late night at the Tzion in Uman where that chassid came up to us and he then grabbed one of the chaver that came on the trip from Florida. I forgot his name right now, and he took him like on a 3-hour shmooze in Yiddish. He spoke to him in the back. Do you remember? What's his name? I forget right now. But then he came up to me and he said to me, "Who is the one? How do you become? Who's the one that's sameach in this world?" I said, "I don't know. Like, what's the voice? What are you trying to tell me?" So he said, "Yismechu malchuscha." Who is the one that's sameach in Hashem's malchus? If you keep Shabbos, v'korei oneg. Pashut. That's all he said. And then he said, "Start learning Shabbos with the chaver. Just start learning Shabbos." He says, that's what was in the Beis Hamikdash. What was the whole avoda? What was the most important thing? On Shabbos, the simcha and the kedusha of Shabbos. Uba'avonoteinu anu shruim betkufa shel hester panim sheniskayim banu va'anochi hester astir panim b'yom hahu. This is where we're at. Now, although that nigun that became famous a few years ago is not exactly Rabbi Nachman's words, it's based on Rabbi Nachman's words, right? Why is it people feel so close to that nigun? Like, why do they cling to that nigun so much? It's because it describes their reality. Based on the pasuk, V'anochi haster astir panai b'yom hahu that we're going to read soon. Kfi sheRabbeinu mefarsho, that Rabbi Nachman teaches in Torah Nun Vav, shegam etzem hadavar sheyesh hastara mustar. Meaning, the fact that there's a hastara right now is also concealed. You're not even aware that there's a hastara. That's a hastara shebetoch hastara. You see, when it hurts you that you're not feeling it because you feel it's concealed, that's one level, but you're at least aware of it. Hastara shebetoch hastara is that you're not even aware that there's a concealment going on right now. Shehastara hi atzuma kol kach ad she'em yodim klal sheyesh hastara. I'm not even aware that there's a hastara right now. Uba'avonoteinu harabim ein margishim es kedushas haShabbos. What does that mean? I'm not even aware. I think what he's referring to is that people are going through Shabbos and they're not even aware that it doesn't have to be like this. That's what I think he's saying. There's such a hastar, they're not even aware that there's something bigger that could be happening, and that definitely should be happening, yeah.
Is this from, would you say, someone who knows about Shabbos, or someone who doesn't even know what the concept of Shabbos? I mean, he's keeping Shabbos in his way, not doing... By the one
that knows about Shabbos. See, by the one that doesn't know about Shabbos, it's not hastar, that's not the lashon. It's dafka by the person that's ki'ilu plugged in. But he comes to such a level that he realizes, he forgets, it's not even supposed to be like this. It could be so much, I could feel this so much deeper, but I've accustomed myself to live in a state of hastara, which means it doesn't come on so hard. I don't feel it so strong. And that's how I already makabel my Shabbos every Shabbos. You following?
Comfortably numb.
Huh?
Comfortably numb.
I'm not even aware that I'm numb. That's the thing. I'm comfortable. I'm subconsciously comfortably numb. I'm not even aware that there's so much more that I could have, that I once had. I've tasted it before. I've had it before. And that's when the hastara hurts so much, when I know I've tasted it before, and I've come accustomed to whatever, I've blamed it on whatever other details in life are happening, and I've just said, look, that's what it was like before I had kids, then there was no achrayas, so I'm supposed to feel like this right now. I'm supposed to come to shul feeling drained like a schlepper, and just, make sure that I say Shema with kavanah. And we have this in our lives with different areas. That's called hastara shebetoch hastara. You're not even aware that you forgot. It's a concealment of a concealment. And he says, how do you know? When does this pop up? Ubeitzumo shel haShabbos kodesh margishin hargashas chulin. At the epic point of Shabbos, I hate to say it, and in America it's much more because of, for instance, the newspaper that gets dropped off at your front door, or just what you're surrounded by, just the reality of what you're surrounded by. That in the highest moment of Shabbos, Reb Chaim Mechila, what I'm about to say right now, it feels like Saturday. If for a moment it's Saturday, it's the 7th day of the week, it's not Shabbos, right? So, okay, I see non-Jews also don't work on Saturday, ain't going to work on Saturday. So they don't work on Saturday either, maybe, right? Or some. That's not Shabbos. And in the highest moment of Shabbos, I feel a hargasha of chulin. Vegam ein margishin be'ez hastara anu shruim. We don't even feel what kind of hastara we're in. Be'yesh, and now he explains the Zohar that we just learned. Be'yesh misha Shabbat etzlohu b'vchinas chol mamish. That's what it means, a weekday Shabbos. That for you, you're keeping Shabbos, but it's chol. It's a weekday. It's kivyochol. It's as if it's a weekday. Hainu she'eino zoche lenoam Shabbos, that you don't merit the sweetness of Shabbos. Ka echsaf. What was Reb Aaron Kalina's nigun? Ka echsaf. What am I kosef? What am I longing for? Not Shabbos, noyam Shabbos. Right? The sweetness of Shabbos, tasting how good it feels to have Shabbos in my life. Umargish es yom haShabbos kilu haya yom chol legamre. Machmas ha'etzev ha'machir esrucho chas v'shalom, and all this person feels is just the day of Shabbos, like it's a Yom Chol, due to the sadness that brings down his ruach chas v'shalom. You brought the weekday into Shabbos, exactly the opposite of everything we learned prior to this, where it says that when you go into Shabbos, a person has to feel shekol malachta asuya, that all your whatever you have to do is already done. But people bring the weekday into Shabbos, and then they don't taste the sweetness of Shabbos. And they're not even aware that it doesn't have to be like this. They're not even aware that it doesn't have to be like this. It's as if it's dictated to them already that Shabbos is not meant to be felt by people like me. Rebbe Meir, he feels Shabbos. Me, I don't feel Shabbos. That's okay. Everyone has to be according to their madrega. That's the Satan in its like most simchadik time of his life, taking away the Noam Shabbos of a Jew. So what are you supposed to do at that moment? So Rav Meir Shechter is saying, don't feel guilty. There's an avoda to do, even at this place as well, where Shabbos is chol in your life. Look at the next column, on top. Im kozos, nonetheless, la'adam ladat, ki bepnimiyuso ubekirbo vaday meir or Shabbos. Rav Meir Shechter is saying to you right now, you're at the table and you're already imagining, you're hoping to meet a non-religious person who's going to tell you the score of last night's playoff game. And you catch yourself in the middle of thinking that. And the Rav Meir Shechter is saying, well, you should know right now, in your das, that's where you think you are. Inside of you, something else is completely going on. Why? The light of Shabbos is definitely shining into you. Definitely. And you have to believe this, that even if you don't feel it, it's happening inside of you. This is a very important yesod in emunah. That even if I'm not feeling something, it doesn't mean it's not there. I would like to feel that which I believe is there, but even if I'm not feeling it, emunah means I believe it's still there. Now, the greatest example of this could be our relationships with our spouses. We've spoken about this many times. If I'm not feeling that it's on right now, and a person can come to the Metzias and saying, I guess it's not on. You did a bris, you gave a ksuba. You have to believe, go and daven by the ksuba, you have to believe that it's there. You just have to daven to feel that which you're not feeling right now. But just because you don't feel it, it doesn't mean it's not there. So Meir Shechter is saying, just because you don't feel right now Shabbos is chol by you, great, now you know what your avoda is, Ribono Shleimim. I know it's there, I believe it's there. Please bring me to that nekuda of Noam Shabbos, of the sweetness of Shabbos. And don't make me feel guilty right now for feeling this because it burns, it kills me, I hate this. You know how many chevra, including people in this room, as we've been learning this, call Friday afternoon, and they say, it's so hard for me to come to this shir and then go to my Shabbos table on Shabbos because of the distance between the stuff we're learning here and what's happening at the Shabbos table. And Chaver that learn with us online, it's the same thing. But wow, instead of it burning you, saying, okay, I acknowledge that there's a distance here, but that's just to bring me to daven, to bridge the gaps, and to find what the Piasetzner Rebbe calls tachbulos, tricks. Let me find tricks how to bring in the team. But tachbulos tasa l'cha milchama. It's a war. Let me find tricks to bring it all in. Yeah.
Just having the ratzon is a victory. If it's not actually happening yet, okay. Things are hefker at the Shabbos, okay. But take it easy on yourself. If it bothers you, that means you have the ratzon that you want to get to this place, and that I think is a victory in itself.
A chassid came to the Baal Shem Tov once in Elul, and he said to him basically that. He said, Eilige Rebbe, it's taken me, I realize that it's breaking my heart because I realize how I'm so I don't even have a saga who the king is. I realize now. The Baal Shem looked at him and said, you should be dancing right now that you're actually tuned into an ounce of realness and of emes that most people are not under the awareness of. So it's true, that's Shlav Aleph. Right? So Meir Shechter is saying, this is the Shlav Aleph, but we're going to have to build this up, okay? The emunah, that even if I'm not feeling it, in me is Shabbos. Why? Os hi beini uvem b'nei Yisrael. This is not my doing. Beini uvem b'nei Yisrael, osi le'olam. It's not my doing. This was Hashem's decision to make a bris with us through Shabbos. It wasn't my doing. So because it's not my doing, it's there whether I like it or not. And I was thinking about this, don't forget what you're going to say, but I was thinking last Friday night when we sang V'Shamru, was it you mentioned it or someone mentioned it to me afterwards? I forget who it was. Someone mentioned to me afterwards when we were singing V'Shamru, he said it wasn't someone that learns in the Chabur. They have a different situation Friday morning, but they said, I felt that when we got to the word Os Hi Le'olam, people screamed it a little bit louder. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Like these are things that are seeping through that we don't even see. Osi la'olam. What's osi la'olam? This is an oath between us forever. That there's going to be Shabbos, there's going to be Yontivs, that's going to be Chol. And guess what? I look at the Yetzer Hara and Klipa and the Sitra Achra and I laugh in its face. And I spit in its face and I say, you think you're going to get me? Osi la'olam. This is what Rav Meir Shechter is saying. Beini uvem b'nei Yisrael osi la'olam. It's inside. You have nothing on me. You have nothing on me, and I got to be around people, and that's the importance of chaburas, of chevron. I got to be around people that are very sensitive to this, and that could also relate to it. And that's why I'm not happy people here have chol dika Shabbos, but I'm happy that it's happened once in your life that it could be, a comment, maybe like things that people could connect to. But then we come to Shabbos and say, no way. And Rav Meir Shechter is saying, it's true that's what you're feeling. You're feeling that it's more important to you to figure out, to find someone that watched the game last night, to get to know the score of today. That's just an easy example for us, whoever that grew up in that culture, or whatever it is. You don't know what I'm talking about. But no. You know, Chaver that come to shul for Shachris after games that happen 3 hours later, and when you see they're ready filling her off by Shir Shal Yom, and they're running out of shul like this. Right? Because Chalila, maybe someone will spill the beans so that they'll prevent them from, spending 3 hours of watching the game when they're after Shechter. No? No one knows what I'm talking about again? I'm kidding. Okay.
Even that situation where the person says, wow, I'm missing something, that's like an amazing situation, as Itamar said.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, many people aren't even in that situation. Like when a person wants to want, it's amazing. What about those people that don't even know they
That's
want?
Hastara Shebetoch Hastara. Exactly. Hastara Shebetoch Hastara is not what Itamar was saying. That's the person that's not even missing anything, because he doesn't know there's something to miss.
Is he aware that he's not missing anything?
No, that's the whole point.
It's the visible awareness.
So-
It's the Rebbe speaking, we talked about it yesterday, the Rebbe who's speaking to this Jewish Jay, right?
Oh, right.
He's saying that he comes to him and says that I'm so much happier now that I found this way. And the Rebbe says that's the worst level of sickness is when you don't even know you're sick. Right?
Hastara Shebetoch Hastara Shebetoch Hastara Shebetoch Hastara Shebetoch Hastara. Here it's already just Hastara by now. It's saying, okay, you realized, I have chol in my Shabbos, right? Okay, it's already chol in my Shabbos. Okay, that's already Hastara. It's not Hastara Shebetoch Hastara. That's already Gevaldik level. Wait, you said what you were saying? I forgot.
There's a beautiful piece that I love from Shiva Nachash, which I think ties in, but it's maybe not exactly this exact level where the person's so far gone that they believe there's no coming back, right? And so they've lost their belief. But Rabbi Nachman turns it around and says, oh, you believe that you're so far gone. So you do believe. So okay, now we're going to take that and say, okay.
Yafeh. That's
it rolls it back over.
It is this. It's not. It is.
Maybe not totally.
It is. So again, the top left column, An Samach Zayin, Achenim Kolzos, with all of this hakara, or with all this pain of feeling like, what happened to my Shabbos? Al Adam Ladat, Ki b'pnimiyuso u'bekirbo vaday Meir or Shabbos. It's there. It's lit. Why? Hashem did a bris with us. Beini u'vein b'nei Yisrael osi la'olam. Not my doing. God's choice. The commandment from the who wrote the 10 Commandments? Whose idea was the Aseret Adibra? I hate saying those words, 10 Commandments. Who wrote the Aseret Adibras? Who wrote the Aseret Adibras? Me? I wrote the Aseret. It was my Hashkafa. ובספר המדרגה נמצאת השבס קודש גם אצלו. ועל שבתות מעין אלו כוונת הזוהר הקודש. Now go back to what the Zohar said. This is what it meant. לא זזה שכינה מישראל. Bechol Shabbatot v'yamim tovim. The Shekhinah never left any Shabbos or any Yantiv, regardless of where you were or where you thought you were. Va'afilu b'Shabbosos dechol, even on Shabboses of Kivyachol, the weekday. Klomar Hashchina Akdosha v'chol ha'oros shel Shabbos nimtzaim. Ve'af al pi de'i sogeret u'mesugeret. So even though it's completely shut, locked, and sealed, closed. Right? I'm not feeling it. That was the sogeret before. I wanted to wait till now. Even though it's completely sagur from me, b'china v'astara aval ichaya v'kayemet behon. What does behon mean? We're going to say it. Itcharatna behon. We're going to say it in Kol Nidre. What's behon? In them, right? In it. Hi chaya v'kayemet behon. Where is it chaya? B'pnimiyut shel kol ish Yisrael. And now he's going to give a story of what happens still if I'm just not feeling it, but I want to so badly, but it's not coming on so fast. But before I do that, I have to remind you of the secret of borrowed time. Does anyone remember this story? A few years after Rabbi Nachman was nifter, and they got together in the kibbutz in Uman, that Rosh Hashanah, and there was this chassid, Rav Shlomo Chaim, he was one of the Talmidim of Reb Nassan, and that year, Nebuch, he buried 2 children, Lo Aleinu, Hashem Yishmor. Remember the story, and he had to be chazan? This is a good story to remember. Wow, it's a good story to remember. He was chazan every year. But this Rabbi Avram Chaim, this year, he buried 2 children, Nebuch Lo Aleinu. It's crazy how much we don't know about people. There was someone I knew. He's a very, very special yid, very eccentric, you barely saw him. He died last week. He was a friend of mine. His name was Reuven Prager. Reuven Prager, if you've ever seen Reb Simcha Hochbaum on Shabbos, you ever see what he wears? That's called Beged Ivri. You know the Beged Ivri? the levush of what it most probably looked like, what Yidden looked like in biblical times. And I had a friend, Ruvain, that he dedicated his life, amongst other things, that had to do with the restoration of things that we did biblically, including the Machatzis HaShekel, Apiryon, a bunch of very far out things, Beged Ivri. So I just found, I didn't even know that he had, sometimes you just don't know people, because there was mentioning things about his life now that he's not in this world anymore, that he buried 2 children in his life. It's crazy things. And a wife. It's like when we think about Rabbi Nachman, we think about all these different things. You know how many kinderlach Rabbi Nachman himself buried of his own? It's like these are things, I don't know, it's just like Rabbi Nachman. Rabbi Nachman himself buried his own children. It's crazy stuff. Anyway, should have arichus yamim for all our children with good health. So they didn't know, this Avram Chaim, they didn't know if he's going to be able to daven for the Yamid this year. Because how could you come Rosh Hashanah night and be with such, Simchas Yantiv by the Rebbe, everything, maybe, I don't know, like when exactly during the year he lost his 2 children. So they came to Rav Nass and they said, what's going to be? And it wasn't clear. It wasn't clear what was going to be. So they were very nervous. And then he shows up, this Rabbi Avram Chaim, and he goes up to the bima, he gives a clap. I'm not sure exactly what the nusach, if it was the same as ours, what we do today. I don't know exactly whatever it was. He screams out such a Baruch Hashem HaMavarach with such fire, power, and simcha. No one was expecting this. And the davening, they say that year was a fire that they never experienced since the time the Rebbe was alive. What ended up happening? They went up to him after davening. They said, wait, listen. That was the highest davening we ever had, but what's going on over here? We thought you wouldn't even be able to daven for the Amud. Look based on what you went through. So he said to them like this: a Yid has emunah that one day everything is going to be revealed to him why he had to go through what he had to go through. And on that day, it's going to be so clear to me, and there's not going to be any shilas. So if I know that there is a time like this that's waiting for me, I'm going to borrow some time from the future and plug it into right now to get by now. Because if I don't, I'll lose my mind. The secret of borrowed time. I need to hear that story every day. That one day it's going to be revealed to me why whatever we're going through, we had to go through. One day it's going to be clear to us why. And because I know that one day it'll be clear to me, I have to go there, Kivyachol, borrow that consciousness, plug it into now, just to get by, and I have to have emunah that they're not going to lenakot et ze ma'asachar, which means they're not going to dock my pay. They're not going to,
Call back the loan or whatever.
Right. They're not going to be like, hey, you borrowed some time, so sorry, it's going to continue to be confusing for you. Then I have to have emunah like that, right? Each of us is going to have this moment where it's going to be clear to us why we went through what we went through. There's going to be a Yid he's going through Shabbos. Every Shabbos, he's like, despite everything I try, nothing's working. And when you're stuck in now, you can't get out of it. But you have to know the secret of borrowed time. So now look at this story. The bottom left column. Muva shepam nasa harav HaKadosh Rebbe Lazar זכוס יגן עלינו, בנו של הרב הקדוש, רבי אלימלך מליז'נסק, לאחד מצדיקי דורו. Now it's funny, just the beginning of the story is pretty funny to me, because it says that the son of the Rebbe Reb Melech, who was Reb Lezer, the famous Reb Lezer of Lizhansk, that he once went to see one of the tzaddikim of his generation. What's the funny thing here? Is that if your father's the Rebbe Reb Melech of Lizhansk, why do you have to go anywhere, right? So if you see the footnote on the bottom over here, they're trying to mevarer who he actually went to. And the footnote says over here, in Gimel, right, on the bottom, it says, B'divrei Yecheskel, for the Shinaver, he says, the tzaddik hazeh haya Reb Pinchas Koretz, that he went to go see Reb Pinchas of Koretz. But the Divrei Shmuel of Slonim says, no, it's actually, Uvdazu haya etzel harabi akadosh Rabbi Melech of Lizhansk. He actually was just going to see his father. The Rabbi Kadosh Reb Baruch Mejbusher was there too. Okay, so whoever the tzaddik was, doesn't really matter for the point of this story. The son of the Noam Elimelech is going to one of the tzaddikim. Next page. Ubiyashvo etzel hashulchan. Hatzadik ne'enach. Rabbi Elazar. Ve'amar, Oy, tate. Amar lo hatzadik. V'dilma lav avivu. V'lo heshivu Rabbi Elazar me'uma. What happened, according to this? It says the tzaddik was nanach. He gave a krechts. And he said, and then Rabbi Elazar said, Oy, tate. And the tzaddik says to him, are you sure he's your tate? You said, well, tate is like you're talking like you're, I guess he never did his this like in Uman. I mean, you hear everyone screaming. That was my first experience, my first Rosh Hashanah night in Uman. I was 19 or 20. I never heard this before in my life. Then in the middle of the night, there were people suddenly screaming in the woods. Abba! I got so freaked. I was sleeping. I got woken up. I got so freaked out. Abba! Right? So he's saying, he's saying, Abba. Are you sure he's your Abba? So he goes back home and he tells his father what he experienced by the tzaddik. Rabbi Elimelech asked his son, what did you answer him when he told you maybe he's not your father? I didn't say anything to him. Amar Rav Kadosh Rabbi Elimelech Tzlusi Yagen Aleinu. He says, Father says to him, you should have said to him, Katuv b'Torah she'al avicha. Men leid zich atate. Now, she'al usually means ask. Achas sha'alti. What? No, that's nish'an. She'al also means borrow. Lish'ol. What'd you say? No. That's shin lamed. Shin aleph. No. Achas sha'alti means Hashem doesn't just mean I asked Hashem for something. In Pnimius they say I borrowed from Hashem this inyan of knowing what to ask at the right time. So she'al means if ani yachol lish'ol et ze mimcha. That doesn't mean can I ask something from you. It means can I borrow something from you. So he says you should have said she'al avicha. What does that mean? Borrow a father. What does that mean? Borrow a father. Everything we said. I don't feel it right now. I'm going to borrow. There's a concept. It must be I'm borrowing time. When I do feel like it's my father, I'm borrowing it into now. She'al avicha. Laveh le'atzmecha abba. Borrow for yourself a father. Bedavar zeh nogea gam li'inyanenu. This has have to do with us too. Shkasher ein adam margish et kedushat haShabbat. When I just don't feel the kedusha of Shabbos, alav lehitgaber ulehitorer ve'la'asot tatzmo kemi she'achen be'emet margish et kedusha. So I used to say, fake it till you make it. Gedalia Fenster says, Nitza Jerome taught me this. I got to give credit where credit's due. Faith it till you make it. What does that mean? You're not feeling it. No one's telling you you have to. No one's forcing you. La'asot et atzmo kemi she'achen be'emet margish et kedusha. Right now, I'm gonna walk. It's as if I'm feeling what I'm not feeling. Faith it till you make it. What does modern psychology say right now about a lot of heaviness with people going through anxiety and depression? One of the things they say is start smiling. Walk around and start smiling, even if you don't feel it, right? Start smiling, and before you notice it, that which you put on becomes you.
This actually, I don't know if Charles told you the story or not. Last year, went to the Rav Shlomo Katz Project. He picked up a tia. He asked for skula, Shmirat Einayim. I can't give you a skula, but I can tell you what I do. He said, just smile. Why? So when you're smiling, it's a hurry, can't get a hold of you.
Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful. Even if you're not right, even if you're not right. You're saying, so I think that it's very much over here. It's just Shabbos it. Now Yismichu Malchuscha, that means with the smile, Besimcha, and then it's like the Yitzhak is like, wait a second, this kid wasn't feeling it a second ago. And you know in your heart, and I'm still not feeling it right now either, right? But guess what? By doing it like this, I have more of a chance of feeling it in another second than I do right now. Faith it till you make it, smile till you make it. ובהמשך הזמן יבוא לעשות דבר בקדושה, ברצון אמיתי, ומתוך פנימיוס הלב. Rav Yaakov Meir Shechter is saying, when you put that smile on, let's just say that for this intention, what will end up happening is that come time, and sooner than you think, it will be a mitzvah that you're feeling it in the inner chambers of your heart. And this is very important for Chaver, that Shabbos, and I'm not downing our Shabbos, chas v'shalom, but I know it could always go up higher and higher. It's just the mitzvahs of the world. So just one more paragraph, and we'll finish. Let's understand another piece of the Zohar, v'zeh l'shono. U'b'Shabbos begin delot teheh kenoel deles b'fnei lovin. De'itmar behu levu alai v'ani poreya. What's Shabbos all about? Shabbos is all, now this has to do with a person, and this comes up in halacha, a person that wants to have hotzos Shabbos. That means expenses on Shabbos. What do we hold? If you're not sure if you could afford it or not, what do we hold? Borrow, buy, like not steal, but do what you have to do in order to get it done. Why? Because we have this klal. Lo teheh kenoel deled bifnei lavim. That it has to do with prusbul, which will actually be taken care of next week. I forgot, because it says about Shabbos, levu alai v'ani poreah. Like borrow from me and it'll be taken care of. So Rav Meir Shechter is going to say, if that's true about hotzos of Shabbos, borrow from me, it'll be taken care of somehow. It's the same thing with the feeling of Shabbos. Borrow from me, like borrow time, borrow the concept of Abba, borrow these things you want, and it'll become what it is. B'Shabbos Kodesh, we're in the brackets, Haloshaninu Bagmar Shakadosh Baruch Hu Omer sheyesh dilvos avur hotzos Shabbos v'yontiv. V'hu yifraz chovo. Uchdei shelo tiyeh bichlal noel deles b'fnei lovim. Shemi she'ein lo al hotzos Shabbos, lo yeh lo mimi lilvos al ken. This comes about that a person that doesn't have money to spend on Shabbos, the Chazal are instituting is saying, listen, we're creating a situation that you're going to keep on saying yes to those that need, and we're guaranteeing that it will be taken care of as well. The chov will be taken care of. The debt will be taken care of. Huh? Oh my gosh, yeah. Ihi psicha legabayu di'ina nishmasin yeterim. Ihi, the Shechina, kivyachol, psucha el neshama sayeseros. The Shechina is open to the extra neshama that exists within you on Shabbos. V'yecholot lilvot u'lekabel tosefek kedusha. During the week, faithing it till you make it is much harder. You know why? Because it's just you. But on Shabbos, what do I say when I wake up Shabbos morning? Shechzarta bi nishma esai. So I'm working with another neshama now. You did it. You did it. Oh yeah? Anyone else do it?
Homework for the Shabbat.
Yeah. Huh?
I don't want to change any stuff.
Then you'll just enjoy your one soul. Yeah, I mean, like that's... Sorry. No, we're just, there's no halach. It's obviously. So he's saying over here, because you have this extra neshama with you now, it's Shabbos, so it could handle the borrowing. Right? We have extra within you to say, I can take on more hotzaot, right? Ve'efshar lefarish, the Rav Yaakov Meir is saying, now we can explain like this, kavanasa, what the Zohar says. Shemi sheshabbos chol, ve'ino margish klum. He's saying, to wrap this up, someone whose Shabbos is chol, he doesn't feel anything. Alav lekayim levu alai. Do you sing that nigun by your Shabbos table? Shabbos ayam. Lilvos mikdushas Shabbos. Borrow from the property. Borrow. It's a property here. It's giving out extra loans. You can handle it. Don't worry. Ucheinen hanal shel sha'al avicha. Like we said before, borrow for yourself. The concept of even having an Abba, feeling like you have an Abba. Hainu sheyases atzmo kemo shemargish kdushas Shabbos. Rav Yaakov Meir Shechter is saying, I'm not giving you Kabbalistic remedies right now to figure out how this works. Just go for it. Believe that it's in there. Yes, you're not feeling it, but start acting as if you feel it. U'be'ezer Hashem yikuyam bo gam ken sof ha'ma'amar, and the end will also be yikuyam, bless you, v'ani poreah sheyiske le'islavus ha'misis, that each of us will actually end up feeling that which our smile began to get us towards. And this should be a zgula and a zechiyah for any one of us that falls into this, and for anyone that's hearing this, and anyone that we could have in mind right now. I know myself, I know probably 50 people that really are consciously struggling with this, And that's not Hastara Shebetoch Hastara, that's just Hastara. And we probably know 50 million more people that aren't even aware that there's something to be felt. So in the schus of us getting our Shabbos on, it'll cause a ripple effect and bring about to the world the Yom Shekulo Shabbos and Milcha.